Greetings everyone! Welcome to another episode of the Humble Spud. And today we're going to Ireland. Woohoo! So I am so excited to bring you along with me. And just to remind you, I'm Chef Desmond and we're here at the beautiful downtown Mount Holly campus of Rowan College of Burlington County in the Culinary Arts Center. And I'm about to start on a couple of my favorite dishes. With a name like Keith, you know I'm Irish, so I'm definitely going to be giving some of the recipes that Mom used to make way back when. And so the first thing we're going to do is a boxty potato. Of course, we've got plenty of potato recipes to choose from when it comes to Ireland, and so let's go ahead and start right off with that. So what is the difference between a boxty potato pancake, because that's what it is, it's a pancake, and a traditional potato pancake? Well, the big difference is what we're going to do is we're going to take both mashed potatoes and then grated raw potatoes, and we mix those two together, and that gives us a really great texture when it's being cooked in the pan with lots of butter and things of that nature. So if you're ready, I am too, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've already cooked up my potatoes. And if you'll notice, these are golden, delicious potatoes. You know, they're so fantastic, and I love them, and they are so good. So I'm going to go ahead and just run this through my little my mill here. Get that nice and mashed up. All right, there they go. I got to push it down a little bit. Some of these newfangled contraptions, they take a second for them to start working properly, but it's going. All right, there it is there. Just keep going like that. Push it down a little. You know, you can grate them, you can use a food processor if you want to, but it's always a good idea to do them in a ricer or something to that effect, because that way you can be sure they won't get gummy on you, and that's the last thing that you want when it comes to that. So there we go there. We've got that all set. All right, so I'll get that out of the way. And then we'll transfer those into my mixing bowl right there. And then from there, I've got the rest of my potatoes, and I'm gonna grate these on the large grater holes, just like so. All right, give it a good little grate. And of course, these are golden potatoes, like I said, which means they have a lot of moisture content to them. So we are going to drain them, meaning I'm going to put them in a little towel, and that way we can squeeze out all that extra moisture, just to make sure that the potatoes don't end up getting too mushy when they're being cooked in the pan. So there we are there. Beautiful. All right, so that's that. And so now what I'm going to do, I'll take my towel, open it up like so. I'm going to put my potatoes right in there like that. And then just give it a nice squeeze, right? I'm going to squeeze that liquid right back into the pan like that. Just get as much liquid as I can out of it. There we go. That's perfect, okay? And now we're going to add that to those mashed potatoes that we already had. We'll get this out of our way. Beautiful. So now I have a cup and a half of all-purpose flour and a teaspoon of baking powder. We're going to put that in there. And then this is buttermilk, cup of buttermilk. Put that in like so. Finally, of course, got to have a little salt and pepper. Potatoes just really are so important when it comes to salt and pepper, particularly salt, you know, when it comes to that. So it just drinks it up and it craves it. All right, so here we are. We're going to make our pancakes. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure that that pan is good and hot. Okay, so what we're doing now is we are indeed making our boxy pancakes, right? Potato pancakes. So we got a nice batter going here. Make sure you mix it up good and thoroughly, like so. All right. When I cook mine in the pan, again, we want to get them to be, you know, the pan should be warm, good, medium, high on there. And I like to do a mixture of butter and oil, all right? So, of course, what did I do with my towel? I'm going to just go ahead, put a little oil in there, and then we're going to take a good amount of our butter, like so, into the pan that goes. So let's get that melted. And while that's melting, we can go ahead and start forming a few of these potato pancakes. just like so. Here's one. We're gonna see if we can get maybe 3 or 4 out of this, at least. All right, so that's looking very nice. All right. All right, we wanna get a lot of butter in there. Get that beautiful buttery flavor. All right, there it is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pop our first one right there. Flatten it out a little bit, and we'll do another one. There we go. All right, 2 more. Beautiful. Last one. Now we had in our a la carte restaurant here at Rowan College, we had an Irish menu this past year, and we did the boxty pancakes as one of the menu items. Very popular. I did it as an appetizer, and it really, really, really went well. And so you'll see in a minute the nice presentation that we have planned. So let's go let those get nice and brown, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, we're back. So as you can tell, I flipped over my boxty potatoes here. They're beautiful, golden brown. Let's go ahead and pop them in the oven, and we'll finish them in there. And then, oh look, through the miracle of television, we can see there's already another batch that have been cooked off and are ready to plate right here. So we're gonna put that right on there, and then I'm gonna grab my spatula right over here, and we'll take this guy right here and pop him right onto this plate, just like so. All right, beautiful. That's that. So now I've got a little sour cream, I got a little pickled red onions, and I've got a little bit of salmon here. So what we're gonna do first is we'll just go ahead and put a nice dollop of our sour cream right on the top. Beautiful. All right, now we're gonna take that, and then we'll just garnish with a little bit of these gorgeous pickled red onions. Oh yes, beautiful. Look at all that beautiful color there. And finally, let's just take one of these nice rolls of salmon and pop it right over the whole thing. There it is. There is our boxty potato with sour cream, pickled red onion, and smoked salmon. I just can't wait to dig in. All right, let's go ahead and take a taste right now. All right, so I'm gonna cut off a little piece here. I'll make sure that I get a little bit of the salmon in there, a little bit of the pickled onion, and a little bit of the sour cream all in that bite. All right, there it is. I know it's a big bite, but I have a big mouth, so that's not gonna be a problem. Oh, well, we all know how great smoked salmon goes with potatoes to begin with, but when you make these boxty potatoes like this, it's so buttery and delicious, you really just can't go wrong. And then with that nice tartness of the red onion, and again, more tartness from the sour cream with a little creaminess there, that is just a fantastic dish. I'm so excited to be able to share that with you. It's time to work for our next recipe, which is our colcannon bangers and mashed. We'll be right back. See you soon. Hi gang, we're back, and here we are with our second and final recipe for our Irish episode, and I can't wait to show you my bangers and mash. And our mash today are gonna be a little bit extra special because we're making colcannon, which of course is potatoes that has bacon and cabbage in it. And so that's what we're gonna start on right now, so let's go. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take my bacon that I've already cooked off a little bit in advance so that it won't take quite so long. All right, we're gonna let that work its way into that pan. And I'm gonna add a little bit of oil to the pan as well, just to make sure I've got enough temperature and a little bit of oil to move it around. While that's doing its thing, I did already take the liberty of cooking off my red potatoes. As you can see right here, I got some boiled red potatoes, and I'm just gonna mash them up a little bit. You know, I mean, you've got potato mashers. You know how I talk about all the different ways that you can, you know, manipulate your potatoes and not make them gummy. I'm actually using a dough cutter for this time, and I find they work really great. So I've done it many, many times this way. So there we are there, just a little bit to give them a little bit of a texture. We left the skins on, and that's that, all right? So now that's done. So once we have the bacon sizzling a little bit, and so now I've got my thinly shredded cabbage, green cabbage here. We're gonna put that right into the pan, just like that. And we'll turn that down a little bit now because it's getting a little aggressive. There we go there. Fantastic. All right. Get that all in there just like so. There it is. Fantastic. Okay. So that's going to be just a couple more minutes. So we're just going to let that keep rolling. And of course, while we're working on it, a little salt and pepper. Can't hurt. In we go. Just like that. Maybe a little more. Even though there is bacon in it. Once again, potatoes, cabbage, they're screaming for salt. All right, you might think that I'm a little bit of a salt addict. I kind of am. It is just part of my nature. And my students kind of say that all the time. Every time they give me any dish, it's like, it's good, but it could use a little more salt. That's one of my most common critiques, and it is what it is, right? My belief is that, you know, you season correctly, and that way you should never have salt and pepper on the table in your restaurant. It should be seasoned correctly, and that's the way I look at it, and so I hope you do too. All right, so that's just gonna be a couple more minutes when it comes to that. And so while that's going, I am gonna turn on the burner for my, my bangers so I can get those browned off, and then we'll end up making our sauce that goes with this whole thing. So I do want this to get, yeah, nice and softened up. So we'll get a little stock in there, just to give it a chance to soften up just a little bit more. There it is. So, you know, we got St. Patrick's Day coming up. I hope you get a chance to have some corned beef and cabbage with boiled potatoes. That was a big mainstay in my house. My mom was a great cook, and I'm very fortunate of that. And I have to tell you that I hope the same is true for you. But it's an important holiday to just celebrate and have fun and enjoy your potatoes and other Irish food items. So this looks just about ready. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is now let's transfer these red potatoes that we already mixed up. We'll put them right in a bowl like that. Now we're gonna let this whole thing get all nice and hot, and we'll mix it up thoroughly. Good. A little bit more like that. And so this is at the point where we can let that set to the side. So we're going to go ahead and set that to the side, and then we'll move this pan over so that I can start working on it now that it's good and warm. And so once again, a little bit of oil right in the pan, and we'll get this out of the way. And I'm going to take some of these bangers, which are Irish sausages. It's got a little lamb and beef in there. And so we're going to put those right into my nice hot pan. And I'm using a saucepan because we are going to make a sauce in this pan afterwards. So that's the idea behind that. So we'll get a chance to, and I like to pop a little bit of holes in there to let some of that fat drip out. And so that's the idea behind it. And so this will do two things. It's going to allow us to get those sausages cooked nice and crispy and brown. And then it's also, again, the foundation for the sauce that we're going to serve over our bangers, our colcannon in just a few minutes. All right, so we're starting to get a nice sizzle going on here. So we'll go ahead and turn those. Perfect, there it is like that. Okay, turn it down a little. We don't want it to get too aggressive. All right, that's that. And get that out of the way. Right there. All right, so let's make sure that they don't get too brown on any one side. So we're gonna definitely keep an eye on those. Give them some nice attention. All right, that's what we want here. And so, you know, one of these is a portion for most people. I might eat a couple of them, you know, in my own diet habits. But there we are there, like that, and we're coming along beautifully. So the idea is to get these right over onto my sizzler. Now that they've got some good color to them, all right, I'm gonna take those, we're just gonna pop them in the oven and let them finish. There we go, like that. Perfect. So now we can go ahead and start working on our sauce. So I happen to have a little bit of butter right over here. I'm gonna put that in the bottom of my pan, just like that. And then we're gonna throw in our flour, just a little bit. So we're basically making a roux. You know how that goes. All right, so that's the base. Let that cook for a second. Again, don't let that get away from you. All right, there it is. Okay, perfect. So then I've got my dark beer here. I'm gonna pour about probably half of that. We're not making a gigantic amount, all right? And so half should be plenty. We'll save the rest for later. All right, there we go there. I do have some brown sugar, a little bit, just like so. And then there's gonna be some heavy cream, right like that. Oh, so rich and delicious, of course. Salt, pepper, as always. There we go, like that. And so in this case here, this is thickening up just right. All right, so at home, if you find that it gets a little too thick, you can always add a little vegetable or chicken stock to it to be able to thin it out to the right consistency. So we're gonna let that roll for just a minute, and by that time, our sausage will be done and we'll be able to plate up. So we'll be back in just 1 minute. All right, so here we are, back to plate things up. And I just want to tell you, one of the things that I like to do when I finish a sauce like this is I like to throw in a little bit of whole butter and then kind of swirl it in. It gives it a nice richness and a good shine on the surface. So we're doing that right now. And so now that that's all swirled in perfectly, and of course we turn the heat off when we do that because we don't want, it'll break if we don't. All right, so there's that. Now, here's our colcannon. We're just gonna take a nice big portion of that and throw it right in the middle of our plate. All right, remember, that's all that cabbage, bacon, red potato, and it's just a beautiful thing. Now we're gonna go in the oven and we'll pull out those beautiful Irish sausages that we affectionately know as bangers. We're gonna put those right on top like that. I know I said one's a portion, but you know, I think two is better. And then finally, let's go ahead and sauce the whole thing up. And we're gonna go right over the top with that beautiful sauce, just like that. So this is not for the faint of heart. This is a good hearty meal that's gonna be great for you on a nice cold night when you wanna have something stick to your bones and last for a long time. One of my favorite dishes, I love cabbage, I love potatoes, as you well know, and so let's go ahead and have a nice little taste of this and see how it all goes together. All right, here we go right here. Oh, that's so good. I like to build sauces thinking about all the ingredients that are in there. And in this case here, you know, dark beer is a little bit bitter. So you gotta give it a little sweetness, which I did with the brown sugar to kind of balance that out. Boy, did that come out good. So let's recap. Today, we made our boxty potatoes with sour cream, pickled onions, and smoked salmon. And here we have our bangers and mash with the colcannon and a beautiful dark beer gravy going over the top. Can't wait for you to tune in again. Until then, I'm Desmond Keefe, and this is the Humble Spud.